An even shorter shortcut? Rotisserie chickens from the grocery store. They're tasty, convenient, and inexpensive. And chicken is a high-protein, low-saturated fat meat. But don't assume all rotisserie birds are a good choice. Consumer Reports evaluated the nutritional information and ingredients for rotisserie chickens from 7 supermarkets and warehouse clubs. Here are some of the highest sodium levels Consumer Reports found. Consumer Reports nutritionists say you might be surprised at what goes into some rotisserie chickens. Literally.
To keep the birds moist and tasty, they are often injected with a solution that can include sugar, processed ingredients, and unfortunately a lot of sodium.
How many times have you grabbed a rotisserie chicken on the way home, only to discover it's dry, undersized, and somehow both greasy and bland? You're not alone.
Got an amazing aroma, costs around $5 and is bound to make your life easier.
You may be thinking of a fancy cup of coffee, but we're talking about an irresistible store-made rotisserie chicken.
Stephanie Pappas makes mealtime healthy and simple by roasting her own chickens.
It's so nice and very convenient to have that roasted chicken in the refrigerator that you can just pull out, put it together some things, and 15-20 minutes later you have dinner.
They're convenient and available at many grocery stores, but as Consumer Reports explains, beneath that golden brown skin could be sodium, and a lot of it.
The truth is, most grocery store chickens are a gamble, but one under $5 bird at Sam's Club is quietly rewriting the rules. Juicy, well-seasoned, and big enough for 2 full dinners, it's shocking how many shoppers say it beats Costco's. So what exactly makes this the first bulk buy you won't regret? Let's break down why this chicken actually works. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Sam's Club, which has about 9 times more sodium than a chicken roasted without salt, and about a quarter of the maximum amount of sodium adults should have in a day. And Costco's famous rotisserie chickens aren't much better.
It's so easy to roast a chicken at home. We recommend you don't wash it, just season it, put it in a 350-degree oven until a meat thermometer reads 165 degrees. And it'll be delicious and a lot less.
Lower sodium options are Kroger Simple Truth rotisserie chickens, Wegmans organic rotisserie chickens, and Whole Foods organic and non-organic plain chicken.
Let's start with the so-called easy dinner. You grab a hot bird from the grocery case because it's cheap, already cooked, and sitting there begging to be rescued. You get home, carve into it, and find skin that looks roasted but tastes mostly like oil and salt. The meat underneath, thread dry, barely seasoned, and somehow smaller than you remembered when you picked it up. It's supposed to save you time, not leave you staring at the bones wondering what you actually paid for.
CR says the best time of day to grab a chicken is between about 4 and 7 p.m. Many supermarkets cook up a fresh batch every 2 to 4 hours. Your chicken will last for up to 4 days in the fridge or 4 months in the freezer. Cut it in pieces and wrap them tightly or store them in a covered container.
The routine is familiar. Stores push rotisserie chickens as the ultimate middle-class dinner hack, real food at a takeout price. But the promise falls apart once quantity wins over care. Most chains run hundreds of birds through fast, high-heat cycles every day. The goal is output, not tenderness. Those birds sit under bright lamps long after they're technically done, slowly leaking their juices until the tray becomes a steam bath of wasted flavor. A few hours under those lights, and what started as a full chicken ends up half its weight in usable meat. Every shortcut in that process leaves its mark. The seasoning, sprayed or brushed on before roasting, rarely seeps past the skin.
What has an amazing aroma, costs around $5, and is bound to make your life easier. You may be thinking about a fancy cup of coffee, but we're actually talking about an in-store made rotisserie chicken.
An even shorter shortcut, rotisserie chickens from the grocery store. They're tasty, convenient, and inexpensive, and chicken is a high-protein, low-saturated fat meal. But don't assume all rotisserie birds are a good choice.
But as Consumer Reports explains tonight, beneath that golden brown skin could be sodium, and a lot of it. Martha Koloski has more in today's On Your Side.
The salt sticks, the rest slides right off with the first slice. Some even coat the surface in a glaze that gives a golden look but no real taste. It's culinary stage makeup. As for the size, That's another illusion. Supermarkets often use smaller birds to keep prices rooted at that magic $5 mark. When you strip one, you find scrawny drumsticks and breast meat so lean it dries before you can plate the sides. Now compare that to the heavyweight competition everyone's heard about, Costco's chicken. It's built a following because buyers think they're getting the gold standard. The problem is that even Costco's version has been accused of quality swings. One week it's juicy, next week the texture borders on stringy. Moisture loss under those same heat lamps takes no industry favorites. Against them, Sam's Club looks like a quiet overachiever. Their rotisserie chicken is not only consistent in size but carries more moisture and flavor deep into the meat rather than trapped on the surface. The difference shows up fast. Costco's chicken might hit your cart looking plump, but once carved it gives less yield per pound. A Sam's Club bird tends to hold its structure better, it slices clean, doesn't shred, and leaves enough juice behind to moisten a second meal. In simple math, you're paying the same $5 but ending up with more edible weight and better leftovers. That matters more than you'd think. After enough limp dinners, shoppers start doubting the entire ready-to-eat shelf. What used to feel like an easy weeknight fix turns into a small betrayal. The packaging says family-sized, yet you're scraping to make one meal out of it. Grocery trust slips in tiny ways like that. You stop expecting value where it's promised. The disappointment gets baked into habit. You still pick one up but only because cooking feels worse. That's where Sam's Club somehow cracked the system. Their $5 rotisserie chicken manages to avoid these typical traps without costing a cent more. Roast time isn't rushed. They run slower rotations that let the fat render instead of burn off. The seasoning blend is applied earlier and deeper, so it seeps into the meat before the heat seals it. And the birds themselves? Slightly heftier, which gives more insulation against drying and leaves a steady texture from wing to breast. It's a small shift in technique, but it keeps everything tasting closer to a home roast than a factory cycle. From a buyer's side, it's the rare bargain that delivers twice. The first dinner covers a full plate, and what's left reheats without turning to sawdust. Shred it for soup or sandwiches, and it still tastes fresh. That alone turns one cheap chicken into a real two-meal solution. And when families realize they're not tossing dry leftovers into the trash, that extra value becomes obvious. It's why a surprising number of longtime Costco fans now admit the Sam's Club bird wins out. It's juicier, larger, and somehow still cheaper in feel, if not in price. The rotisserie aisle has always been about expectation versus reality. For once, the bulk club that lives on pallets and shrink wrap managed to restore a bit of trust. And speaking of small things that make big fixes, wait until you see the pantry staple that can replace 3 sweeteners at once. It might streamline your entire kitchen setup. Not every bulk deal is a win. Some just hand you oversized packaging and smaller value. But the right item, like that rotisserie chicken, proves you don't have to trade flavor or quality for a discount. Half the trick is finding the places that balance scale with actual care. So next time you walk those warehouse aisles, look past the flashy labels and think about what really gives you more for your money. Starting with one under $5 bird that refuses to let you down. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets.